Join me as I take on the challenge of ditching 10 sneaky foods that are keeping belly fat around. Let's see if I can lose it fast. Belly fat. It's one of the most frustrating and stubborn areas to tackle when it comes to weight loss, and the scary thing is, excess belly fat has been linked to all sorts of health problems, from heart disease to diabetes, insulin resistance, and even certain types of cancer. So it's super important that we get on top of it and start taking action. But here's the thing, losing belly fat isn't just about doing a few crunches and eating less. It's about being mindful of the foods we're putting into our bodies and making sure we're not consuming anything that's going to hinder our progress. Because let's face it, belly fat doesn't just magically appear out of thin air. There are certain foods that are sneaking into our diets and sabotaging our weight loss efforts without us even realizing it. So, that's what we're going to talk about today. The sneaky foods that are keeping belly fat around and how we can avoid them to get the quick results we're looking for. Because, let's be real, who doesn't want to lose belly fat fast and feel confident and comfortable in their own skin? Okay. Let's dive into the first challenge, hidden calories and unhealthy ingredients in everyday foods. I'm sure you're thinking, what do you mean? I'm eating healthy. But trust me, some of the most seemingly harmless foods are packed with added sugars, preservatives, and toxic substances that are wreaking havoc on our waistlines. Take granola, for example. We think it's a healthy breakfast option. But most store-bought granolas are loaded with added sugars and oils that are causing more harm than good. And don't even get me started on yogurt. Most brands are pumped full of sugar and artificial flavorings that are doing the exact opposite of what we want, which is to lose belly fat, not gain it. Another sneaky food is bread. Even whole grain bread. Sure, it might be a better option than white bread, but it's still a refined carbohydrate that's spiking our insulin levels and causing fat storage around the midsection. But what about protein bars? We think they're a healthy snack, but most of them are glorified candy bars with a ton of added sugars and preservatives. Even healthy-sounding foods like smoothies can be a major culprit. I mean, who doesn't love a good smoothie, right? But when we're adding all sorts of fruit juices and honey, we're basically creating a sugar bomb that's going to blow our diet into smithereens. And then there are foods that are high in omega-6 fatty acids, like vegetable oils and soybean oil. Now, omega-6s are important for our health, but when we consume too many of them, it can lead to chronic inflammation and fat storage around the belly. Processed meats like hot dogs and sausages are another major contributor to belly fat, not to mention they're only pumped full of preservatives and sodium, but they're also causing inflammation and insulin resistance. Even foods that are marketed as healthy can be sneaky saboteurs of our weight loss efforts. Take quinoa, for example. It's a great source of protein and fiber, but it's also high in the glycemic index, which means it causes a spike in blood sugar and insulin levels. And then there are the foods that are just plain addictive, like pizza and pasta. I mean, who doesn't love a good slice of pizza or a plate of spaghetti? But when we're consuming these foods on a regular basis, we're basically feeding our belly fat and making it harder to lose. Another sneaky food is canned beans. Even though they're a great source of fiber and protein, they're also high in lectins, which can cause inflammation and fat storage. So, what's the deal with all these sneaky foods? Why are they causing us to hold on to belly fat? And how can we avoid them to get the quick results we're looking for? Well, let's take a closer look at each of these foods and how they're affecting our metabolism, appetite, and fat acclimation. And then, we will talk about the most surprising or counterintuitive food that people often overlook, the one that's making the biggest impact on belly fat. First up, let's talk about sugar-laden beverages like soda and sports drinks. These drinks are not only high in empty calories, but they're also causing rapid spikes in blood sugar and insulin levels, which leads to fat storage around the midsection. And then there are foods that are high in unhealthy fats, like processed snacks and fried foods. Not only are these foods causing inflammation and insulin resistance, but they're also making us feel sluggish and lethargic. What about foods that are marketed as low-fat or fat-free? Well, the truth is these foods are often filled with added sugars and preservatives to make up for the lack of flavor. which can lead to overconsumption and fat gain. And then there is the issue of portion sizes. Even healthy foods can become unhealthy if we're eating too much of them. Take nuts, for example. While they're a great source of healthy fats and proteins, overconsumption can lead to weight gain and fat storage. One of the biggest culprits of belly fat, in my opinion, is refined carbohydrates like white bread and pasta. These foods cause a rapid spike in blood sugar and insulin levels, leading to fat storage around the midsection. And then there is the issue of food additives like artificial sweeteners and flavor enhancers. These chemicals can disrupt our gut health and metabolism, making it harder to lose weight and burn belly fat. But what about foods that are high in sodium like processed meats and canned goods? These foods can lead to water retention and bloating, making us look and feel heavier than we actually are. And finally, let's talk about foods that are high in unhealthy chemicals like pesticides and heavy metals. These substances can disrupt our hormone balance and metabolism, making it harder to lose weight and burn belly fat. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is all so overwhelming. How can I possibly avoid all these sneaky foods and lose belly fat fast? But trust me, it's not as hard as it seems. By making a few simple changes to our diet and becoming more mindful of the foods we're consuming, we can start to see results in just a few weeks. One of the most surprising or counterintuitive foods that people often overlook is rice. Yes, rice. While it might seem like a harmless side dish, rice is actually a refined carbohydrate that can cause a spike in blood sugar and insulin levels, leading to fat storage around the midsection. But don't worry, I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to summarize the key takeaways regarding the foods to avoid and their effects on losing belly fat quickly. So to recap, the sneaky foods we need to avoid to lose belly fat fast, including sugar-laden beverages, food high in unhealthy fats, refined carbohydrates, foods high in sodium, food additives, and foods high in unhealthy chemicals. By cutting these foods out of our diet and becoming more mindful of the foods we're consuming, we can start to see results in just a few weeks. Thanks for watching, guys. If you've had any experience with these sneaky foods, please share them in the comments below. And if you want more health tips and weight loss advice, be sure to check out my next video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos.